Breaking news about the fourth stimulus check. Democrats in the House and Senate are now planning on reaching a stimulus deal before December. Some lawmakers now want to appeal part of the former president's tax plan. So, Joe Manchin said that he has the chief concerns that will be addressed in order to secure his vote. Joe Manchin is also stirring up some trouble in Congress.
What the president also said, and what all of us are saying, is that maybe the time is now for us to stand up to powerful special interests who are currently spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to prevent us from doing what the American people want. But there is going to have to be some give and take. But let's be clear. I mean, we started this process in the Senate Budget Committee, which I chair, at a $6 trillion amount, which, by the way, is the least of what we need if we are, in fact, going to transform our energy system and deal with the existential threat of climate. All right, we came down from 6 to 3.5 trillion.
Folks, this Friday, I will be announcing one winner of a free $300 Amazon gift card. And if you'd like to enter the win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family. Now, Senator Joe Manchin says that he has chief concerns that will need to be addressed in order to secure his vote for the $1.75 trillion economic package. Things like climate change and taxes must be addressed, according to Manchin. That's a hopeful sign for Democrats, but Manchin did not rule out the ambitious time frame that Chuck Schumer laid out earlier. He put the bill on the chamber floor during the week of November 15th.
But of $30 billion a year, even after including all of the other provisions to increase taxes on the wealthy that are currently in the Build Back Better Act. At a time when Democrats are correctly demanding that the wealthy finally start paying their fair share of taxes, it would be absurd and hypocritical to provide the richest people in this country with a massive tax breaks. And that's not just me or Bob Menendez. That is people like Larry Summers. That is people like Jason Furman, President Obama's former chairman of the Council on Economic Advisors. So, if completely eliminating the cap on state and local tax exemption is regressive,
this means we could see lawmakers reach a deal before the end of the month. Manchin has raised far more concerns than any other senator, and he held a news conference Monday to publicly cast doubt on the emerging deal, while warning that he could ultimately vote against it, as he called it gimmicks. Folks, speaking to reporters, Gottheimer said that he's been pushing for full reinstatement of the deduction as part of the deal for taxes, and though he would not say how long he wants that reinstatement to be in effect. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal said that the committee is still discussing the deduction. According to a committee aide, a proposal on the table would repeal the $10,000 cap for the 2021 and 2025 tax years. It would then be reinstated for 5 years after that, which the aide claimed would keep it close to revenue neutral. There is some good news for those of you that live in California. If you are eligible for a California stimulus payment and have not received it yet, it's highly unlikely. It's highly likely that your payment is coming through the mail. The California Franchise Tax Board is distributing the 9 million stimulus payments via both direct deposit and paper check. And the agency said that the most direct deposits were made by October 31st. The next wave of paper checks have been sent out, but it could take weeks before your check hits the mail. To this point, about 4.5 million payments have been made, and the tax board expects that all payments will have gone out by the end of the year. Whether you receive a direct deposit or paper check depends on which option you checked on your tax return. So, a provision in the former president's tax plan has become a sticking point for some Democrats as they work to reach a deal on the spending package. A group of moderate lawmakers are pushing to repeal the so-called SALT deduction cap in the reconciliation package. The state and local deduction cap is set to expire at the end of 2025 and limits the amount of state and local taxes that taxpayers can deduct.
Educational costs of their children. We are going to go forward and pass this legislation because the time is long overdue for the United States Congress to begin to make sure the American people understand that our job is not just to represent the corporate elites and wealthy campaign contributors, but to address the needs of the struggling men and women of our country. And on top of all of that, it would be incomprehensible to the people of our country who turn on the TV, they see the West Coast burning, they see the drought in the Midwest, they see the floods all over Europe, Australia on fire. It would be incomprehensible and a real crime against future generations.
It's a rational, reasoned plan. It's an energy policy that looks like somebody designed the damn thing on purpose. Because that's not what we have right now. President Biden has talked a lot about his plan. I don't completely understand it. As best I can tell, he wants us at some undetermined time in the future to be able to produce our energy without nuclear, without oil, and without natural gas, and certainly without coal. He doesn't really explain how we're going to get from where we are today to that future that he envisions, which is why you're seeing the disruptions in the energy supply throughout the world. Short term, as best I can tell, President Biden and Secretary Kerry's plan is let's don't produce our own fossil fuels. Even though the American economy, the greatest economy in all of human history, gets 80% of its energy from fossil fuels. He wants to end that abruptly. He doesn't want us to produce our own fossil fuels. He wants us to buy natural gas and oil from other countries and basically give countries that hate us more money so they'll have weapons. They can buy weapons to try to kill us. And that doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't make any sense to the American people. Final point, you can't talk about energy without talking about climate change. The climate is changing. It's changing in my state. Our sea levels are going up about a foot a century. There are a multitude of reasons for it. We need to address it. But I see, and I think these colleagues of mine see, the changes in our climate as a discrete scientific problem. Unlike President Biden and Secretary Kerry and the other Trotsky-like wokers, they see climate change as a religion. And you can't talk about it unless you follow their dogma. It's much like their new critical race theory.